Okay, guys, so welcome to part two, entitled Access Granted. So part one was access denied. Part two is access granted, and we are in the amazing book of Esther, the journey of Esther. So where we last left off, as you guys have all recalled already, we see that Vashti has been deposed. We learned that word. And the king has said, hey, look, get me all the girls. Let's see what's happening right now. We need to replace Vashti. She's been disobedient, egged on by the other guys that were like, listen, we need to do something because otherwise our wives are going to go, and start being disobedient to us. And so where we left off was that was the position. So we never hear about Vashti again. Like that was it, gone, forgotten. Like it was as if she wasn't even there anymore. Like we don't speak about her. We don't see anything again. So here's the next part. Here's a part to me that was just so powerful. And you guys can help me with this because we're learning with, together. So at this point, Esther gets, she comes into now the palace. I kept calling it a castle. I don't know why. Maybe it's I don't know, maybe I just liked a castle. She's in the palace and she followed what her uncle Mordecai had told her. She was obedient. And what we realized was the irony of the fact that Vashti was disobedient, which got her removed, and Esther was obedient, which gained her access. So you guys clocked that from last time, right? That was powerful. It was quite ironic as well. Now, what was also quite ironic was that Esther would not have actually got in if we knew deep down who she really was, right? Yes or yes, we established that as well, that she was in fact a Jew, and during those times, Jews were not meant to be there. In fact, you could call them in these modern times an illegal immigrant. She should have been gone back to her town where the rebuild had already taken place. And all the Jews were supposed to not really be there, kind of thing, right? So at this point now, let me go back to my right. Let me go back because we didn't even get to chapter 3, did we? We got to chapter 2. Okay, so here we have, Esther gets promoted and she is in the palace. And what happens is her uncle Mordecai is given a job around there as well, right? Now he starts to hear one of the, you'd call them a guard or one of the security plotting to kill the king, right? So he's now plotting to kill King Xerxes, and Mordecai hears about it. Mordecai tells Esther, and Esther tells the king, and they get rid of this security guard just in time before he was actually going to kill the king. Check this out. Esther had no reason being there, but she ended up not only getting there, but she ended up saving the king's life. Because of her obedience, she ended up saving the king's life. That's deep. Have you ever been put in a position where you don't even know why you're there? And all of a sudden it becomes clear very later on that you weren't there because of you. You were there because of who you are on the inside, that is to help somebody else in that environment. 777 in the chat if that has touched you in any kind of way. Then you ask yourself, well, Lord, why am I in this situation? God, why do I have to go over here? I really don't want to be here. This is not for me. I don't feel comfortable. I don't want to be in this situation. I don't want to be around these people. But you finally realize that the reason why you were put in that position is bigger than you. Someone say bigger than me, right? Sometimes we're in situations and we can get into a pity party. We can have a moment where we're just like, when is anything gonna go the way I want it? How many of you are just like, yo, I go through one hurdle, then another hurdle comes. I'm overcoming this, I'm overcoming that. I feel like a constant overcomer. Like, is anything gonna get better? When do I sail into the sunset of glory? How come I've just overcome one issue and now 3 other issues have been thrown on top? And I'm just like, yo, what's happening here? What's happening here? When is the breakthrough? When is the break? When do I get my access granted to joy, happiness, peace? What is going on? But then after you come out of that situation, how many of you now just say yes, me in the chat? When you come out of that situation, you're like, you know what? I'm better for it. I didn't like it at the time, but I know why. I get it. It makes sense. Like I didn't like it at the time. It was awful, but it made me. How many of you know that it's the bad times that make you? It's the bad times that strengthen you. It's the bad times that build the muscle of resilience. It's the bad times that allow you to really find out who you are, that you're about that life, that you can, adapt, overcome, and win. And so here she was wondering like, yo, why am I put in this situation? I'm being obedient to Mordecai, but really my life is just a little bit on the edge. Like, I shouldn't even be here. How many of you feel like you were promoted at work and you weren't really qualified, but they promoted you over some of the people that maybe had the right qualifications? That maybe, there's some people that's been trying for a baby for years and you come, boom, and you go bang out 3 kids straight away, no issue. Or there's some people that have been wanting to get married, going out on so many dates, but you go on one and boom, marriage. Like there's some serious advancements in your life that wherever you go, there seems to be a blessing. You don't even understand why. Maybe you're not even qualified, but you always seem to land on your feet. You always seem to get a breakthrough. Maybe sometime money's short and out of the blue, a blessing will come. Favor will come. Supernatural acceleration begin to come in your life. And you're like, yo, I don't even understand why. You open up a thing, you get a tax rebate. You open up a letter, you see that your child has been advanced to something. There's something coming your way. That you get a random phone call to say, hey, look, we got a job for you. Or hey, look, we want to give you this contract. Or hey, look, this is happening. Or you have a doctor's appointment where everybody else is waiting years, but you get advancement and you get that appointment straight away. And here's the thing, when your access is granted supernaturally, the enemy won't understand it. The enemy's confused, like, yo, who is this person? Who is she? How come she has managed to get where she is so far? How come she's managed to, they'll be confused, guys. They're going to be so confused because you don't even know. You're like, Lord, please, lay off on the blessings because you're going to get me hated. They're going to hate me. Like, how many more blessings? Like, how many more blessings? You make me a target out here, Lord. Like, Lord, all right, cool. If you never give me nothing, all I'm saying is thank you for what I have. Like, I am good over here. Like, they're hating on me, and it's not even my fault. Someone needs to type this in. When they question it, take it up with God. Just type it in. Take it up with God. It's not me. It's him. It's not me. It's him. It's him. I don't know why the advancements come. I don't know. Take it up with him. And so here she is now. She's been put inside this place. Mordecai gives her the heads up like, yo, tell the king they're plotting to kill. They're plotting to kill. She saves the king's life. Now, what does that do for the king? Remember, the king, right? The king cares about his reputation. The king cares about being the big deal. Those of you that have studied kings, and we had a training on this about what a king represents. A king represents wealth, power, dominance. And so she saved his vulnerability. She saved his credibility. And so the king now is even more in love with her. The king now is just like, yo, this is my woman. This is my girl. This is my gal. This is my wife. Wife for life. Where the men are on the pool when wifey speaks into your life, or wifey just puts you in a certain prestige. Wifey goes ahead and just does certain things. You're like, yeah, that's why I love her. That's why I love her. As women, we are there to, to give our man that boost, to give him that that confidence, that boldness that he can be all he needs to be. He can live, and he can live abundantly and strong. And this is why, ladies, you don't want to stressing out your man. You're there to support him and encourage him and build him up and make sure that he knows that he has you behind him, aside of him, ready to keep him pushing. Because I believe that behind every strong man is a very, very good woman. And so the queen, say the Queen Esther. Now here's this, boom. When she got connected, she was Esther the Jew. When she gained her access, she was Queen Esther. Someone catch that for me. Because you see, when you gain access, your title changes. There's a prestige that comes up. I read something on my mentor's page the other day, and I think it's so powerful. And we had a conversation about it, and she was talking about how, these days, especially in these modern days, people call you anything. So like, especially like street, and when you're down and hip, you get called, yo, my dog. Like, girls are being called the B word, and it's like, cool, like, yeah, that's my chick, that's my gal, that's my, back in the day, it was my beans. who's of that era, who's of that age? What were the names that they used to say, that my chick? I mean, are you a chicken or what? Why are you putting there a chick, right? So all these little names. But when you are in alignment, when your access is granted, there's a prestige about your name. Peng, yeah, Peng, Peng. I remember that one, Kaya. Peng, right? So you get all these names. So her name changes. She comes in, and now she's almost like a protection for the king. Now she's like, listen, king, we heard word on the streets, because you ain't down there, but I got word on the streets. Oh, yeah. Auntie Anne says, I don't answer to those names. But what about this one? Psst, psst, psst. Psst. What are you psst? Your friend, all this, yeah. So her name has changed. She's now saved the king, and now she's she's in there. Basically, she's in there. She's impressed him. Now, I'm going to skip some bits, but those of you that really want to go deep into this, there's so much to go into, right? But then what happens is one of the king's most trusted advisors, his name is Haman. Now Haman is just like his master. I mean, he is so like his mentor. It's unbelievable, right? And so Haman, he loves the prestige life himself. He loves the fact that he's he's so close to the king that he gets all the leverage, that he gets all bigging up by it. So he loves the limelight. So Haman is coming out. And there's a backstory to this, almost feud between him and Mordecai, right? Which is Esther's uncle. Now, Haman has come out as basically the king's second in charge. Now, when you see him, you're supposed to bow. You're supposed to be, respectable. You're supposed to give him the honor and the respect. And when you go deeper into it, you look back into the scriptures and you see the reason why Mordecai did not respect Haman. He didn't kneel or pay him any honor. He refused to bow before Haman, which when you look at the scriptures and all that, that's a complete disrespect. All right. It's because of some of the generational grudges that they had back in the day, when Haman's lineage used to hurt the Jews and used to do things to them. And so there was a hereditary kind of war between the two cultures. So Mordecai refused to bow to the king's top guy. Now, the king's top guy, how many of you guys know? Show me your mentor, tell me who you are, right? You see the king in Haman because he's rolling with the king. So he feels like he deserves all the honor just like the king. And so Haman's like, you better bow down to me, but he don't want to make a scene outside because that will diminish, what they're doing. It will de-edify them. So what he does is he comes back and he's like, all right, cool. I'm going to show homeboy that, I'm the top dog around here. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to kill all the Jews. I'm going to make sure every Jew is killed. Just because he had the feud with the one man, he wanted to destroy an entire nation. How many of you know that there are some people out there that they may have, have you heard people step on someone's toe and then all of a sudden they're shooting up the club and so many people get hurt, but it was an accident. Someone barged someone in a club or something, very minuscule happens and it's dramatized. It's taken way out of proportion when all it needed was a conversation or all it needed was a sorry, like apologies, bro. But you guys know where the ravers are. I know the ravers are keeping quiet. The ex-ravers, I know you're saved and sanctified and all of that holy now. But I know some of you in the club know what I'm talking about, right? Auntie Ann laughing. So here we have this gentleman. Adina's like still a raver. Yes, girl. You know about that. So he's now got a feud with one person. And he's now made a declaration that he is going to mash up an entire nation. He's going to kill every Jew. Every Jew, there must be a law that every Jew is killed. Now, here's the thing. He goes to the king because the king is the only one that can authorize such a request. Now, here's the thing. Remember, the king probably was drunk, right? He was drinking. He was nice. He was cool. And he's gone to the king and he's like, yo, king, there's a nation. He didn't tell him which one. There's a nation that's disrespecting, and I want your authority to wipe them out. And the king goes, yeah, sure. Now, the king never say which nation, what they've been doing, what's happening. He didn't find out any of the finer details. He authorized homeboy to go wipe out the Jews, not knowing that one of them was his own wife, not knowing that what he just co-signed to was something that was going to destroy himself. Have you ever seen the enemy come to destroy you? And what they do is they destroy themselves in the process. That when the Bible says when you're digging a grave, how many of you have heard that? Like the enemy will come for you and destroy their own self. Like they will come for you, right? They will be there. They'll be doing everything to mash you down, not knowing that they're actually mashing themselves down in the process. They're actually digging their own grave whilst they're digging yours. They don't even realize that they're destroying the house. You see, what the king didn't understand was what Haman didn't understand is that if he destroyed the wife of the king, what he was actually doing was destroying the king, who is his master, which he would be destroying his own kingdom. He'll be destroying his own self, his own favor, his own access. He will be destroying that. But because his mind was so on the feud, his mind was so focused on being the big dog, like my man should have bowed down to me. He should have done what I asked him to do. He should have done what should have been done. Now his rationale is blurry. Now how many of us, let's be honest, I can admit to this, how many of us have overreacted? Our rationale has been so dramatized on something that really is just a conversation, something that really sometimes things don't even need to be said. Sometimes really it doesn't need to be a big war. It doesn't need to be bringing around 100 people, going into the details. Sometimes our emotions over dramatize the facts. I remember there was a time when I was running late to pick up the kids. And I was crying. I was on the phone to Anton. I'm going to be late. He's like, what are you crying for? Why are you crying? And I was just flustered. I was like, I've been in traffic for ages. He's like, the kids are fine. They're not going to die. Calm down. Relax. Why are you crying? And when I stopped, I was like, why am I crying? Why on earth am I crying? We sometimes get so worked up, but we've got to strip it back and say, okay, what's the situation? What's the issue here? Is it in my control or is it out of my control? If it's in my control, let me handle it in the right way. If it's out of my control, let me park it and work on what's in my control. Can I get a yes, please, in the chat if that makes sense? So here we have Haman over dramatizing the facts, wanting to go and kill a whole nation because of one man's decision, one man's action, wanting to destroy what was built up by the king, wanting to destroy all the infrastructure that's been put in way before he was even there, wanting to destroy the legacy, the lineage, just because of a personal feud that could have been solved very, very simply with a conversation or with an understanding of where they were both coming from. And so he goes, the king's like, yeah, go do it. Go, go do what you're doing. He didn't find out the finer details. And lo and behold, here's the thing, guys. I bet those of you that have read this story have not seen this part. The way God revealed certain things to me about this scripture has been crazy, guys. Like it's been away from the norm. Now, long and story short, Mordecai tells Esther, we need your help. You're the only one that has access in the palace. And your top boy, Hanan, is about to kill us all. He's about to murk us, right? Man's got an AK-47s loading up and we're all about to get blown away. Now, here's the thing. How did Mordecai find out? How did Mordecai find out before it was announced that all the Jews were about to get murdered? Because when I was looking at this, I was like, rah, how did he find out? Have you ever wondered how Chinese whispers go around? Like, you ever wonder how people seem to find out things? The word seems to get around. Have you ever heard someone go, between me and you? And you know you ain't the only one they told. Between me and you, like, keep it to yourself yet. Like, you ain't been ringing other people, telling other people. It ain't between me and you. It's between me, you, and all the other people that you've been gossiping with. It's not between me and you. And the word says that Hanan, he kept some big party. He told all of the soldiers and that to come around to his yard. They were drinking and he was boasting, right? He was boasting. Why? Because Esther had invited him and the king, and I'm speeding ahead of the story. I'm going to go back a bit. Him and the king for a feast, for a meal, privately, without any of the other soldiers. It was just him. So he's boasting, he's drinking just like his mentor, boasting and drinking, telling them, listen, I got access. I got big access to the palace. I'm the only one that's been invited with Esther and the king. Like, you guys know I am in there. And guess what I'm going to do? Under his liquor, man's like, yeah, I got authority. Man's going to wipe out the whole of the Jews, them. So chatty. Come on, Dr. Marcia. Tell him again, right? Dr. Marcia said, drunk and got verbal diarrhea. Chatting. And the word gets out to Mordecai. Do you know life and death is in the power of the tongue? Literally, life and death is in the power of the tongue. I had a young gentleman ring me about 3 weeks ago. And the gentleman said to me, he saw me online discussing a suicide situation, and he was feeling suicidal at that time, and that word saved his life. I ain't saying that to boast because I don't even know who the guy was, right? He stopped me inside, took a couple of pictures with him inside the event that we did. And I said, look at God. That's not me. I remember the day he's talking about, I didn't even want to go live. I was annoyed. I was frustrated. I was not happy. But something told me, just be obedient and do the live. You got to show up. You made a commitment. I told myself, my accountability partner was messaging me, you ain't been live. You promised you're going live. Go live, go live. This is why you got to have the right people around you that don't like enable you to stay stuck. And so she's messaging me constantly at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, half 11, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2. And I just said, all right, I'm going to do it. Shut up now, will you? And just to shut her up. And I believe that God used her as that accountability, as a reminder to push me to do something I wasn't wanting to do. But I said to my word that I was going to do it. And she reminded me and held me accountable of it. And I went on live. And that was a testimony that I got off the back of that obedience, something I didn't want to do. How many of you have those things sometimes you don't want to do them? It's been a rough day. You're tired. Stuck in traffic, late to pick up the kids, had so much going on and you just didn't want to do what you promised yourself to do. But I want to tell you this, that when you have promised yourself to do something, the access is granted to those that you are to serve. It's not about you. Esther didn't gain access for herself. Somebody received that. The access saved the king. which ultimately, again, saved the kingdom, saved the people. We're skipping ahead, but I want you to understand her access was granted not for herself. It wasn't for her to say, hey, look at me, I'm Esther. I'm the big bad gal in the palace. Look at me. No, her access was to empower others, to save the life of others, to give to others. It wasn't for her to look at herself, point fingers at herself and say, hey, 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 I'm the bad gal on town. I'm the new block, Dottie Vashti. Move yourself, girl. Can you imagine the wars? Vashti sitting there like, I wonder who she thinks she is. No, because Vashti was, what was she? Deposed, right? But you can just imagine the drama, two women arguing, two women not really happy with each other, whatever. And she was eloquent about it. She had a mission. Her access was granted to her, not for her. It was for who she was about to save using the access that she was granted to. 777, if that's deep. So here we have it, guys. Esther now has this word from Mordecai, who said that here's the strange thing now. This was strange for me. Someone help me out. So when she was going in the palace, Mordecai's like, don't reveal yourself. Keep your mouth quiet. If you reveal who you are, they're going to kill you. But now the whole nation is at stake. Mordecai's like, reveal yourself. It's worth your death. Reveal yourself. Tell the king who you are so he could stop this charade and stop the people from being killed. Now, can you imagine being Esther in this time? That you are living a life of luxury. Anything you want. You have maids doing everything. You have all this stuff going on for you. You were told prior to coming in to keep who you are to yourself because you're putting your life at risk if you reveal who you are. And here she is now being told, now she's got comfortable. now she's like getting used to the queen life. Now she's there, got a man, he's probably wearing gold robes, a Versace robe at night, right? The Versace, everything looking good, gold scepters, they're drinking out of gold goblets, they're eating the best food, she's getting her nails and her lashes done anytime she likes, rubbing herself down with good old cocoa butter and olive oil. This woman is living the life. And now you're going to tell me that I have to risk my life. I have to now reveal who I really am to save the kingdom at the risk of myself being killed. How do you think Esther would have felt at this time? Like, what could have been going through her mind? How must this woman have been feeling? What type of pressure? What kind of burden? Maybe sleepless nights, confusion, fear, worry. She's just a human being at the end of the day. And now she's got the entire nation on her shoulders, looking up to her. Have you ever been in a situation where you've had to put aside how you feel for the greater good? Have you ever been in a situation where you've had to push your feelings to the side to help the people that you love, to help, a bigger cause, bigger than yourself? The weight on your shoulders, the feeling of expectation and worry. And this woman's life was on the line. And and I believe when we go into it, it was almost like Mordecai was giving her kind of like not a blackmail thing, but he's literally like, yo, look, if you don't do it, we're all gonna die. But if we die, it's going to be found out anyway who you are. Like, either way, you're going to die. So you might as well risk not dying by revealing yourself. Like, he literally pinned her down and was like, listen, this ain't no option. Again, another test of her obedience. Wouldn't it have been just easy to ignore everything and just say, listen, homeboy, you're on your own, bruv. Me make it. I've made it. I have made it. You're on your own. How many of you have met people like that? That when they forget where they were prior to a situation, they forget what was going on for them before they entered the glory. How many of you have been around people that you've helped, that you've poured into when they were desperate? Anyone borrowed money to anybody? When they came borrowing, it was a whole different desperation to when it was time to pay back. You guys know what I'm talking about. They come so humble. Oh, please mentor me. Please help me. Please borrow me the money. Please look after me. Please help. And when you give them the help, when you show them the ropes, they disappear. They even forget all the stuff you done. They even forget that you even exist. They forget. In fact, they'll be telling everybody you didn't do nothing for them. They don't even know you. I actually had somebody that said, do you know Nikki? Who? Nikki? I don't know her. Like, what? I know you. In fact, you came to my house. We were there for a year and a half. I was like, you don't know me? How you don't know me? Check your bank account. Your bank account knows me. Your bank account knows me. How you don't know me? How you don't? No, I don't know. Nikki? Who's Nikki? Like, you know, Nikki. The only Nikki you have in your phone book. Me. And it's like they forget. They literally forget who they are. So she could have been one of those people that said, listen, I made it. I know what I'm doing. I don't need to help. You know, I don't need to help no one. You always hear those people that say, oh, no shade to those that say they just want to trade. I'm not going to shade you guys. But you know those ones that said, I just came in to keep myself. I don't want to help nobody. I am not looking for that type of drama. Get out of here. I just came here to keep myself to myself. I just make my little money. I don't want to help nobody. I don't want to talk to nobody. I don't want to hear nobody. I'm just here to make my money. I know someone helped me to get in, but I don't want to do that. Why would I want to help somebody else? People are too much problem. That is the situation that Esther was in. Do I save my life or do I risk my life for the people? And so she promised, here's what she did. First thing she did, who knows what she did? Who knows? Go ahead and type in the chat. What did she do? What was the first thing she did? What did she do, guys? Before she made up a decision, before she said what she was going to say, what did she do? What was Esther's first point of call? What did she do? Let's see who knows their word. Let's see what I want. Be interesting to know. Yes, Brother Mary. I'm saying Emmanuel and Mary at the same time. Yes, Sister Mary, Brother Emmanuel. She called a fast. She was like, this is bigger than me. I ain't even just gonna fast for myself. I need everybody to fast. So she called a 3-day fast. She was like, listen, everybody, get down and pray. Pray. Fast and pray. She called a 3-day fast. Everybody had to pray and fast, right? Everyone. Because I think she wasn't just fasting for the situation. She was like, listen, you don't fast for me as well. Fast in my life. Don't go with this sacrifice, right? Please, you guys go pray for me. Some of you guys, you know what I want to shout out to some of those that attended the Dream Girls event this week. It was amazing. But something that really touched my heart was we had a conversation. And I think it was Shola, I'm not quite sure, I can't remember, but she said, Nikki, we have a little private chat with our team and we pray for you. I was just like, thank you. I need all those prayers. Thank you. And sometimes, you know, when you can't pray for yourself, it's amazing to know that you have others praying for you. You know, I get so many prayers from Mary, you know, Charmaine, Auntie Anne, you know, all the prayer squad, like, and it's those little things make a big difference. They make a big difference. Sometimes you can't even pray, but to know that you have, you know, more than one person, when 2 or more are gathered, you guys know this, you know the deal, right? And she said, listen, we're all gonna fast for 3 days. And I could just imagine the question she's asking God, like, yo, God, show me a sign not to do this. How many of you have been in a situation, you know you got to do something and you just want a sign not to do it? Like you want to, you just like, yo, show me a sign I don't have to do this, please. Anybody else? Why me? Do I have to do this? Can this not be somebody else? Like, why can't somebody else have to go through this road? Like, is there a reason why it has to be me? Like, I'm learning. Hello, I'm learning. I get it. I get the message. I get the reason why you would want me to do that. I get the message without having to go through it. You don't need to put me through that now. I'm good. Thank you, Lord. I've learned. I start having these conversations. I don't know if it's just me, but I have these conversations with God all the time. I'm like, Lord, I know exactly what you want to teach me with this. So you don't need to put me all the way through. I get it now. Yeah, I'm checking into Bible school. Yes, Lord, I'm going to do this. I'm going to read these books. I'm going to do that. Everything I promised you all them years ago, I got distracted. I'll admit, I raised my hands up. But she heard the word that said, no, you got to do it. And so instead of her just blurting it out to the king, she now does something which is completely the opposite of what Esther would normally do. Everything we've been talking about so far is Esther being obedient to Mordecai, obedient to the rules, obedient. Now, the laws back then is you couldn't go to the king unless you were called. You couldn't even go down the corridor unless you were called. But she was just like, well, hey, I'm going to bite the bullet. So instead of her going straight to the king, she walks past the corridor and almost like gives him some little look. I could just imagine maybe she was dressed in her best outfit or whatever, and she must have been like, huh? But straight away the king was like, oh baby, come. Rules them, bro. But you see, here's the thing. She broke protocol, but she was very sensitive around it. She was just like, let me test the waters a little bit. Probably testing to see if it was drunk or something. And she's gone there and she's just gone like, walk past the corridor a little bit, giving him the eye. And we all know our king is very, very fruity. King just like, yeah, baby, come on through. And she's gone through, you know, probably giving him a little hug, little sugars. This is a little tip for some of the married ladies on this call. When you want something out of your man, don't just blurt it out. Give him some nice treatment, rub him down a little bit, give him a good massage, give him some compliments, tell him how amazing he is, how beautiful he is. Listen, Esther knew how to work her man. But 777, if you are gaining some stuff from this call tonight, come on. Anton's like, yes, Nikki, now I'm learning your tricks. Don't tell Anton, guys. Okay, so you need to make sure your man is nice and prepared. Set the mood for when he's about to get the news. Like, you can't just drop it on man. You got to make sure you warm him up. Esther was like, yeah, I'm going to warm up the man. I'm going to make sure I go in there. She probably had a nice little number on and she was just giving him the look. He was like, come into the chamber. He told her to break the protocol now. He's like, come, baby, come into the room. So she's gone into the room and she's giving him some sugar, probably rubbing him down a little bit, giving him some compliments, massaging his ego. Right? And then he's gone, what do you want? Because he knows she wants something. And he's gone, what do you want? Make your request known to me. And here's what he said. And up to half of the entire kingdom, it's a yes. Right? So he's almost told her, anything you want, you can have. He didn't say all the kingdom. He ain't that dumb. He said half, right? So he goes, up to half of the entire kingdom, the answer is yes, right? You don't have to. And she still was like, This woman had wisdom. Someone typed wisdom. She was like, baby, I need you to meet me for a banquet. I'm going to cook for you. Oh, yes. The way to a man's heart, guys. Ladies, the way to a man's heart is what? Through stomach, in belly. So she was like, yes, I'm going to put on a whole good spread for you. I want to invite you to dinner. You and Hanan, right? You and Hanan. Who's Hanan, guys? The guy that ordered the Jews to be all killed. So this is how Hanan gets invited to this meeting, okay, this big banquet with him, Esther, and the king, right? So King's like, yes, baby, of course. Oh, I'm looking forward to that. Oh, food, yes. And some drink. She's like, yes, baby, anything you want, it is on, right? So at this point, this is where homeboy Hanan goes and boasts to everybody else that he is going and he's got a special invite to the king. He don't even know what's coming to him. He don't even know what the invite is about. He just heard food, drink, and private access. How many of you, right, let's be honest, how many of you, and I can imagine how all the other soldiers were jealous of, the access, jealous of the close proximity between him and the king. Oh my gosh, he's going to be with the king and the wife, and we didn't even get an invite. How do you know any situations where you, listen, let me tell you this, don't be jealous of somebody else's access because you don't know what they're doing in that room. You don't know what's going on inside the access. You don't know what the situation is going to be. You don't know what the outcome will be, because come on now, what Hanan thought the access was for, it wasn't for. And some people be hating on other people's access, and the access ain't as much as what you wouldn't even want the access if you knew what it was. How many of you gained access to a mentor? When you gain the access, you're like, oh, this is too much. This is heavy. I don't think I can keep up with the standards. I don't think I can keep up. Access to boot camp. Get kicked out day one, Auntie Anne. Right? So and I tell you this, when it comes to boot camps, guys, the people beg to be in. They're like, please let me in. I need this. I need it. I need it. I need it. I need it. And by the time they get in, day one, they're giving up. And it's like you beg for the access, and when you got it, you didn't fight enough to keep it. You wasn't expecting what it was that it looked like on the outside. The pressure became too much. The weight of the challenge. Because let me tell you this, guys, when you are granted access, there is a level that you have to level up to in order to keep that access. The new level that you're granted to, the new access level that you're praying for right now, the level that you want to be granted into, the level that you want to be lifted up to, there's a requirement, there's a standard that you have to raise up to. It means that your flesh a little bit more of the flesh has to die. It means that a little bit of the selfishness has to die. It means that a little bit of, you listening to yourself has to die. More humility is required. The higher the level, the more humility is required. Someone say, yes, Nikki, this is going to slay some people because we're praying for access. Guys, I'll tell you this. I was praying to be around certain chairmen. I was praying to have mentorship around certain people. We pray for the mentorship until the mentorship shows up. Then we start sweating like, oh my God, did she really tell me to do that? I'll come off the phone to my husband, bawling. This mentorship is too much. I don't think I can manage. They want me to do that. They want me to be held accountable. You pray for the access, but then you're going to be held accountable to the new standard. If you're not ready, guess what happens? Deposed. Tell you this quick thing, guys, which is unbelievable, right? Nikane, as you guys know, he's moved to a new school, absolutely beautiful school. Before, in his old school, homeboy, I had to brad him up to do his homework every minute. Have you done your homework? Even sometimes, did you get homework? Where the parents at? Asking, did you get homework? Have you got homework? You're sitting here watching television. Have you done your homework? You're on YouTube. Have you done your homework? You're playing around, chatting around. Have you done your homework? Do you have homework? Since he's been in this new school, homeboy, homework done. I don't have to ask him. I don't have to say anything. Homework done. He come home. He's sitting there doing his homework. Mom, homework's done. Homework's done. I'm like, so today I asked him. I was like, Nick, something strange. I need to wonder. How come all of a sudden I haven't had to remind you about your homework? It's been a year now, and you're just doing I'm not complaining or nothing, but are there any mitigating factors why you just seem to take responsibility and do your homework? He was like, Mom, if we don't do our homework in this school, you get striped. I was like, ooh, tell me more, boy, tell me more. He was like, and 2 stripes is PD. I said, what's PD? Principal detention. Mr. Orlando, me like this school already, yes. And he said, and if you get 5 stripes, Mom, 5 stripes is a letter home. And I know you don't want no letters coming to the house, so man's got to get that homework done, you get me? I was like, I get you, bro. I said, tell me more. He said, and 10 stripes is the suspension. Mr. Blood Fire, me love this school there. I love this school. The accountability is right. The accountability is on point. You see, when you're held accountable, you almost all of a sudden want to take action without anybody telling you, because you know there's consequences to the failed situation. The old school, they didn't even check the homework. You do the homework, they weren't even checking it. They didn't even know whether the homework was handed in. Sometimes I see 2-year homework in his bag still. I'm like, why is homework still here? Did the teacher ask for it? No, Mom. They get homework that they want checked. But this school, they're militant. They're an army. When you gain access into the right quarters, there's accountability. There's a consequence. There's almost like a fear factor behind it. Like, yo, if I don't do this, and ain't nobody, like you get laughed at in the school if you have PD. And I was like, boy, well, you don't want to have PD, not that type of PD. I don't want to be sitting there. And the principal, you sit in his office. His office is like a proper, like Matilda type building. That's the school, like grade listed building. It's big brown, the old school studies and them type of thing. It's like a proper principal's office, brown and, very, very like the old books on the bookshelf and all them things. He don't want to go in there. He said, Mom, if I get my access revoked, meaning I got lunchtime principal disciplines, and I'm walking in that office, it's not cool. And I don't want that. So I'm going to do my homework. In other words, you're deposed if you don't do your homework, right? There's an accountability level. And so here's the thing. Let's reverse engineer it. How many of you want to level up? Someone say level up if you want to level up. How many of you want to level up? I'm going to give you something right now that listen, this right here is about to tell you something. This right here is about to make you shake, get scared, say glory all at the same time. We're going to reverse engineer it. If you want to level up, you want to get the access granted, you want to get the glory, you want to move up a level, up your accountability. Find yourself an individual that's going to hold you accountable until it scares you. Hold you accountable till you can't stand them. Hold you accountable till you cry. Hold you accountable till it hurts, till you shake. Because if you find someone like that cares enough, let me tell you this. Somebody who doesn't love you will watch you fail. The people that love you, the people that want you to win will hold you accountable. I don't want to be around people that leave me to fail. If you're around people that see you not showing the plan, see you not doing your lives, see you sitting down drinking and chilling, and they're not holding you accountable, they don't love you. They're happy to see you fail. They're happy to see you down. How are you going to be sitting there chatting? You got work to do, you sitting there chatting, chilling. You want to be around people that's going to string you up, that's going to pull you up and say, sis, I love you, you're better than that. Bro, I love you, but you're better than this. Sis, I see so much potential in you. Come on, guys. If you want to level up, you need to level up your accountability. And accountability is vulnerable. Accountability is where you got to be honest. A lot of times we put on a cover up, we put on a face, but that's not the truth. That's not the real truth, guys. How many of you know that you have an insecurity that you call it out before anybody else does? I remember I used to go, oh, I've got a big nose, and laugh about it because I didn't want someone else to talk about my nose. Because it was an insecurity. So if I got in there first, if I laughed at myself first, nobody else could say anything. But what I was doing is I was projecting. I was defensively laughing something off that wasn't funny. Now I embrace all the skin that I'm in. I love my nose now. Accountability is so important. How many of us have been deflective when really we just need to own it? I messed up. It's okay to mess up. It's okay to go through some stuff sometimes. We've been taught to be so strong, not to be accountable, not to be vulnerable, but actually it's in your vulnerability that you gain strength. It's in your vulnerability that you're going to get the access, because guess what? Your muscle is becoming strengthened. And I had to realize that vulnerability requires trust. There has to be a trust. You can't be sharing your business with people you don't trust, because that's when the access is taken for granted. So you have to find a trusted person, someone who has your best interests at heart, that is not scared to upset you. Let me tell you this, I will risk our friendship for your deliverance, for your healing, for your success. I'm not here to say what you want to hear. I'm here to tell you what you need to hear. I'm here to say to you, listen, sis, I ain't seen you on the calls. You're saying you want breakthrough, but I don't see you doing the work. Sis, you told me your why. You told me your goals. But every other month you're inactive. How are you going to get to the place where you want to get to if you're inactive? Sis, you're leading other people. You have to lead by example. Bro, you can't be doing X, Y, and Z when you said this is what you want to do. I will risk our friendship. My job is not for you to like me. My job is to help you grow. My job is to help you gain breakthrough. My job is to build a muscle in you that isn't afraid of feedback. Don't be afraid of feedback from the right person that means you well. Feedback is going to help you to grow. By massaging your ego and telling you how amazing you are, okay, that's not going to help you to grow. What's going to help you grow is by you having the gates down. Be open and honest with your mentor. Let them know exactly what's going on. Trust them that they can give you the access that you need to help you grow. Don't fight your mentor now. And some of you are fighting your mentor because your mentor's saying things that's not in alignment with your ego. It's not in alignment with your boosting. But here's what you need to do. You don't fight your mentor. Don't fight, hurt, or compete with the person that God has put in your life to grant you the access that you've been crying for. And there's some people that fight the individual. You don't get to choose who God has granted to bless you. You don't get to choose. And just because someone's been granted to help you grow doesn't mean that they're better than you. It just means that they're ahead of you in that department and they want to depart some wisdom into you. So don't fight the person that God has put in your life to help you grow. This is almost like the Hanan situation, that you want to kill the person that God has put in your life to bless you. You can't hurt the very person that God has put in your life. If you pray for their downfall, you're praying for your own downfall, because you're connected to the lineage, you're connected to the blessing, you're connected to the offspring. Guys, when your mentor wins, who wins too? You win. When your mentor grows, who grows too? You do, because the same growth that the mentor gets, the mentor then pours into you. So you can't kill what has been designed to help you live, because when you kill what has been designed to help you live, you almost kill yourself. That's why you see people that hate on other people begin to go under themselves, because the words they speak over others are actually going back to themselves. So in order for access to be truly granted, you got to first have the access of your heart available. Let your heart be honest. Let your heart be open and receptive to anything and anyone that God has aligned in your life to help you. Don't fight the mentorship. Sometimes it's going to hurt. Sometimes it's going to be tough. Sometimes you're not going to hear the things that you want. But it's for your betterment. It's for your good. And when you gain that access, guess what happens? You then begin to bless others. But first, you have to fix yourself. I heard, they always talk about the plane. Put your mask on first before you put on somebody else's mask. Looks like we're going to have a part 3 on this, guys, because I've run out of time and we haven't even heard the best part of the story yet. Esther saves the day, as we all know, right? So here we have, let's summarize this up. Hanan is boasting to all his brethren that he's having this private banquet, not knowing what the access actually entails. Understand the access level that you have, right? Understand the level of access that you have, because there are levels to this thing. Be very connected to your P1000 mentor. Make sure you're speaking to them actively. Make sure you're giving them updates. Make sure you're spending that time, right? There's protocols to this. Right? Honor is something very, very important. That's something very, very important. You must honor your lineage. Don't skip lines. Because when you access something that you're not ready for, what can happen is it can have the reverse effect. So you want to make sure your muscles built strong enough to get to that next level, and you get that through the mentorship of going through the process. Don't skip the process. There's a protocol. Esther could have fling out the words so quick, but she said, no, we're going to go for a banquet. And they went, guys, and they ate and they filled up their belly and they had a nice drink and they were happy and joyful. Probably the king got a little bit drunk. And then he said, baby, so what is this about? What do you want to tell me? And she said, baby, listen, I want to do another banquet. I want to feed you guys again. She delayed again. She was like, we're going to do another banquet. I want to feed you for 2 days. Sometimes we're too hasty. Our mouth runs too quick without a proper thought process. Sometimes we need to take our time to think. Some people who study the word say Esther was just scared. She was delaying. Some say she was strategizing. Some say maybe the king was so drunk, it wasn't the right time. Timing is everything, guys. I heard someone on an Instagram live yesterday say, someone underneath the keep out on the mode. Not everything that goes on, you should be talking. Not everything you need to, feed into sometimes. Sometimes it's a moment of reflection. How do I handle this? Does this require an answer? Does it not require an answer? Do I need to address this? Or do I need to just kick back for a bit and just wait for God to tell me how to do this? And so when we come back for part 3, which will be the final, we're going to hear, exactly what happened after that second banquet. How many of you love the storytelling situation? I think I break down the word real good. I think God really gave me that, the blessing of being able to break it down. Right? You guys are like, Nikki, I don't see any of these stories in the Bible. Where do you get it from? Listen, I tell you, if you really dig deep into this word, you're going to see love. You're going to see cheating. You're going to see drama, baby mother drama. You're going to see fighting. You're going to see a whole lot of stuff. It is a whole big bag of stuff, right? And I'm glad that we can, pull out this word together. Yes, oh yes, I love me a book of Ruth, right? Me and Ruth is good. I love Ruth. But Esther has just been filling me up lately. Like the word has just been so powerful. And especially, understanding it from Vashti's view, first call that we had, and now understanding, the background into how Esther must have been feeling, having to make these decisions and really stepping out on faith, guys. In order to gain access, we must step out on faith. We must be vulnerable to a point to the authority, to the body, to the order. There must be order, law and order. There must be alignment, okay? Has to be alignment, guys. So we're going to conclude it there by saying that we're going to, this ends with chapter 3 and 4. We've just summarized, okay? With Haman basically plotting to kill off everybody because of a personal feud with him and Mordecai. At this point, and this is interesting how Esther has not just saved the king, but she saved the people as well. So she's on the two sides. She saved both sides of the kingdom. We've had, not only has she come in and made the decision that she's going to do what she needs to do, Mordecai is refusing to bow to Hanan and causing drama outside the palace. And now Hanan has had one banquet, absolutely loved it, fill up his belly, the king, and then Esther's about to do it again. What have we learned from this, guys? We've learned that, access does get granted, but it comes with a responsibility. When you gain access, there's a level up that's required. You can't be the same person. You cannot be the same person with, who was reckless. Like when you begin to, how many of you parents, you say, well, now I'm a mom, there's certain things I can't do, right? Because my children are watching. There's certain posts, guys, there's certain Instagrams I've had to hide, certain YouTubes from back in the day, because they're not appropriate. I don't want my children to, there's a responsibility when you get to a certain level that you can't do the old things anymore. Okay, it says, what's the word, Auntie Anne? When you are a child, you do things as a child, right? You must put away the old things, certain things that you used to do, you cannot do no more. So when access is granted, there's a level up that's required. There's a new level for you. There's a new humility for you. There's a new, you see, here's the thing, and this is what I'm going to end it on here, guys, is this, that your access that is granted, okay, will be tested. There's always a test when the access is granted. Now, here's what the test is. The test is to see when you get the edification, when you get the crown, when you get lifted up, how do you respond? Do you respond with more humility? Or like Hanan, do you respond with showing off and boasting and bragging, right? You can tell a lot about somebody by how they handle the new level of access. When someone gets new level of access, how do they behave? Do they become more humble? Do they become more edifying to the level up that they received? Or do they become boastful, chest high? I'm the Don, I'm the Don, I'm the Don. Because that's the test. And during that test, this is what one of my mentors said to me. He said to me, look, Nikki, access must be tested. And I'm like, tested? How do you test? He's like, give more access and see how somebody responds. Do they respond with humility, or do they respond with ego? Do they become more edifying of you? Or do they think that you and them are on the same level and they become like less edifying? They begin to stop doing what they were doing before. They begin to stop checking in with you as a mentee because now they think that they're at your level. Or they begin to do certain things that they wasn't doing when they were applying for the access. When they were coming towards the access, they were doing one thing, but as soon as the access was given, attitude changed, and now the access has almost changed the person altogether. And when I heard that, I was like, wow, that's powerful. So I began to implement this. I began to give access to see how a person responds to the access that's been granted. Because with much that is given, much is required. So if you, here's the thing, here's the almost the catch-22 about this. Is the more honor and humility you have, is the more access that is granted. The level up becomes more. The more honor that you have, the more humility that you have, is the more access that's going to be granted. And so we see that Hanan didn't need any more access, because as soon as the access was given, the first thing he wanted to do was show off and boast in front of people to let them know they didn't get an invite, but he got an invite. And that shows his heart. That shows exactly the type of person that he was, that actually he wasn't for the people, he was about self. And you know, those traits, we want to make sure that we pray against those spirits. We are people that we stand on love, we stand on truth, integrity. And so that wraps up today's session, guys. I'm so excited about what we have. I've got only a few announcements today, which is very, very exciting. But those of you that got something from today's call that you're going to be able to implement, something that you say, you know what, I need my access granted. I'm ready for more access. I'm ready for a next level. I'm ready for a next level. I know I need to work on my patience. Sometimes I don't need to be running my mouth so quick. I need to think more. I need to strategize. I need to make sure that, I'm patient. If it's at home with my husband, I need to make sure that I'm not just being naggy, but I'm going to make sure that I give him what he needs, give him the attention, the words of affirmation, whatever it may be. But I'm going to make sure that my access is granted each and every time. Put a 777 in the chat if you are ready for more access, if you are ready for, everything that's available to you, because I believe that every single person, on this call right now deserves more access, deserves more and on a higher level. And I urge you that if you are somebody that's thinking of a higher level, think about what it is that you need to do to be even more humble. Think about what you need to do to be a little bit vulnerable around your mentor, to tell the truth. I've had some powerful conversations with some of you guys over the last few weeks, just honest, real. And I believe that's why a lot of people are beginning to see breakthrough, because we're really speaking to the real person and not just saying what we think other people want to hear. All right, ask yourself, what do I need to do to improve on my communication skills? Am I too quick? Am I too in myself? Really, take from this story something that you can do personally to really help yourself to strengthen that muscle, to raise that level on the access that you currently have granted to you. And I promise you guys, more doors are going to begin to open, more doors. And, every single thing that you desire is coming to you, in any shape or form. And you got to be open and receptive. Write this down as we close. I must be open and receptive to anyone that God puts in my life to help me with the mission that he has given me. I must be open and receptive. I must be open and receptive to anyone and any opportunity that God has put in my life to help me fulfill my purpose. I'm going to repeat that one more time. I must be open and receptive to anyone and any opportunity that God has put in my life to assist me with my purpose, right? That means that we're not going to block our access. Access is granted, all right? Access is granted, and we're going to be open and receptive to the access that we have. Make sure you tap in, guys. I'm going to ask you again to put your top takeaways in Discord. I'm going to tell you again, guys, that we have these, calls available for you guys. Plug in, look into the chats, make sure you jump on the sessions. Don't miss out on the things that you have access to. Okay, Tosin's filling up the pockets. No one should be trading after 10 o'clock because the way Tosin's flying in them bag of TPs is actually disgusting. I think, listen, I don't even know. I think she's doing something with the markets. she must be the market mover right now, because everything she says, zero stop losses, guys. Tosin is absolutely killing it. She's crushing it right now. And I want to touch on some of you's humility. Those of you that are seasoned in here, maybe you've been here a long time, but I'm going to say to you right now, you don't have the money that you want, but you're not waking up at 6 o'clock. Okay, that's a muscle that maybe you need to say, oh, I can't be bothered, I'm too tired. No, you need the results. So wake up at 6. Get on those calls at 6 o'clock because they're paying. And you don't want to sit down and be an observer to the same access you have, people making crazy withdrawals. People making crazy withdrawals, but you're too tired. You're sleeping while everybody else is making money because you're not humble enough to tap into something that's going to make you money. You're not humble enough to tap into someone. Like Tosin's got the results, guys. You've seen her withdrawing left, right, and center. This ain't no game. And you're in a situation where you're praying for a breakthrough. The breakthrough is right there. Will you access the call? Will you access those 6 a.m.s? It's withdrawal Wednesday today, guys. No, it's not. It's Thursday. It's withdrawal Thursday because I've been seeing some withdrawals today. I was like, yo, is it Wednesday? No, it's Thursday. But I challenge those of you that know better to do better. I challenge you, those of you that say, hey, look, I'm not in a position where I want. Why are you not joining the 6 a.m.? I'd expect you to be on them 6 a.m. Humble yourself. If those shall humble themselves, they will be exalted. But those that exalt themselves shall be humbled. You got to ask yourself right now, are you exalting yourself or are you humbling yourself? Because that is the reason for your season right now. Right? So we're going to close out on that, guys. Let me just end this recording. Put your notes inside Discord, guys. Put your notes inside Discord. I want to read what it is that you guys are doing. Don't run away from it. All right? And make this happen for yourself. So